Welcome back to the Soccer Show. I'm Chris Marlowe. You know, there are a couple of sports that have not penetrated the inner city limits as of yet. Volleyball and tennis come to mind. What about soccer, you say? Well, there's a young man in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, who's doing his best to bring his sport inside the city limits. Kevin Cusick reports.
For children growing up in this area of Milwaukee, economic opportunities in sports are limited. They face the harsh realities that go along with inner city life. But none of that stopped Jimmy Banks from reaching beyond this neighborhood to a spot on the U.S. national soccer team. He now shares his dream through the Jimmy Banks City Soccer Program. These are the inner city streets where Jimmy spent his early years growing up in the West Lawn Housing Project. He went from being just another face on the street to the top of his profession, representing not only his city as a member of the Milwaukee Wave, but his country as a member of the U.S. national team. He knows both sides of this city and remains humble about what the game of soccer has given him.
I've been all over the world, and I can't speak Yugoslavian or Korean, but you learn to communicate with people and you become friends, and I think that's the good thing about soccer.
Last year, Jimmy took his dream of getting more blacks and minorities involved in soccer and made it a reality. He started the Jimmy Banks City Soccer League, which now has 10 teams and over 250 kids involved.
Once I reached the professional level, then I had the opportunity to make a mark, and that's one way that I look at it. Because soccer has been so good to me, I just wanted to put something back into the sport, as far as working with inner city kids, disadvantaged kids, and things like that. It's funny because, you know, there's a lot of people that say that they can't see soccer working in the inner city because they feel that there's no interest there. And I'm saying to these people, there's interest there. You know, kids love to run and jump and head balls and things like that, kick balls. And, you know, I just brought the program there, and, you know, it's just taking off.
Jimmy received financial backing from the Milwaukee Wave, McDonald's, and Adidas. The two main supporters of the program were his best friend, Willie Bell, and Robert Bird, athletic director at the Lavarn Wave Boys and Girls Club.
The thing that I like about him the most is that he is the person who have not let the limelight become something that is more important than him bringing soccer back to the community. And it takes an exceptional person to have experienced some of the things that Jimmy has experienced and not get caught up into that. And so when he comes into our building, our kids have a great deal of respect for him.
First of all, I mean, soccer in inner city, people really don't relate that. They're like, well, yeah, you know, it's always a sport that's played out in the suburbs or something. You know, so I guess what our main goal was that it's just a sport. You know, it doesn't have no identity. You know, anybody can play it, no matter where you live at.
Jimmy's achievements in soccer have allowed him some finer things in life. He now lives on the north side of Milwaukee with his wife Constance and 2 sons. Although he loves to share his soccer skills with kids from the old neighborhood, he has a future star blossoming in his own backyard, his oldest son, Demetris. Today, he leaves home and heads back to the Lavarn Wave Boys and Girls Club, where he teaches much more than the game of soccer to people who sincerely appreciate his efforts.
He's telling us to have good sportsmanship, have have respect for one another, and don't go greedy with the soccer ball.
He's a good person, knows how to play soccer.
I thank him for it.
We're trying to not only teach soccer, but we're trying to instill some values and some good habits and discipline in these kids and try to teach them to let sports and education work hand in hand, and that's the way it works in life.
Everyone involved with the Jimmy Banks City Soccer Program is pleased with its progress and are looking to involve even more children this year.
For the future, we want to keep it going, and I would like to make it full-time, that it's always there for them, so that they, you know, always can depend on us for, you know, soccer, even educational guidance. But we also want to be there. We want to make ourselves solid in this community.
In the beginning, the program seemed like a great idea, but an impossible task. That's why it took a hometown hero like Jimmy Banks to make it happen. There was a time this gym always looked like this, but now every so often, because of Jimmy, it looks like this.
When I leave this world, I want to be able to say that I've done something for someone. And I think by helping these kids, as far as teaching them good values, not only teaching, but motivating and things like that. You know, I think if I can do that, you know, I've done my job.
The Lavarne Way Boys and Girls Club hasn't been the same since Jimmy Banks came back to his old neighborhood last year. At the rate he's going, they may need to replace these basketball hoops with soccer nets in the very near future. Chris, back to you.
Jimmy Banks, perhaps a future star for the United States. Good story. Next week, Kevin Cusick will have a story on the United States women's national team and how they might do in the upcoming World Cup. We're going to take time out. When we come back, more on Just for Kicks after this. Stay with us.
Soccer Heroes has been brought to you by Soccer America, the news weekly of U.S. soccer fans.